Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into this review of what we learned in week 4. So week 4, it's all about directed numbers. So looking at our number line here, 0 is kind of in the middle. It divides the numbers from positive to negative. So all the numbers to the right of 0 are positive. These are the numbers you've known for years. 1, 2, 3, 4, all that. We usually don't put the positive sign because let's face it, mathematicians are lazy. So like 4 and positive 4 are exactly the same thing, just like 9 and positive 9 are the same thing. We just don't usually write the positive sign. But there are numbers also to the left of 0. These numbers are called negative numbers, and we do need to put the sign in front. We need a negative sign there. So we have -1, -2, -3, and so on. So all of these numbers to the left are smaller than 0. So this negative sign in there is just a direction symbol. That's why they're called directed numbers. So -1, the minus just tells us it's below 0. -1 is 1 below 0, -2 is 2 below 0, -3 is 3 below 0, and so on. So you've probably heard of negative numbers when learning about things like temperature. You probably would have heard like in the winter in Canberra, it can get to like -3 or -4 degrees. So -4 degrees means it's 4 degrees colder than when it's 0, which is the freezing temperature of water. So as we go to the right, numbers are getting larger. As you go to the left, numbers are getting smaller. So we can see, for example, the number 8 is to the right of 3. So that means 8 is greater than 3. So if you want to write the correct symbol, remember crocodile eats the bigger number. This says greater than points to the right because numbers are getting greater or larger as they go to the right. So 8 is greater than 3, crocodile eats the bigger number. But it turns out -8 is to the left of -3. So 8 is greater than 3, but -8 is actually less than -3. Again, -3 is the bigger number. Crocodile eats the bigger number. So we can also use the number line here to help us add and subtract directed numbers. When you're adding a number, you go to the right, and when you're subtracting a number, you go to the left. So let's say I wanted to do -15 plus 12. What I do is I start at -15. Because I'm adding 12, I go 12 to the right. So I go from -15, 12 to the right. Now, hopefully, you won't need to keep using this after a while. But if I go 12 to the right, I end up at -3. So -15 plus 12 is -3. I went to the right. If I had something like -4 minus 6, well, I would start at -4, so I go to -6, but now because I'm subtracting, I go to the left. I start at -4 and I go 6 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I end up at -10. So -4 minus 6 is -10. So that's all well and good for adding and subtracting positive numbers like we did here. But sometimes you're going to have to add or subtract a negative. So let's say I had to do something like -3 plus -5. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding a negative number. To add a negative number, I subtract its opposite. So the opposite of -5 is +5. Same number, different sign. So -3 plus -5 is just -3 subtract the opposite of 5. So that's what it means here. A plus and a minus equals a minus. When you have a plus next to a minus in the middle like this, it turns into a minus. So -3 minus 5. Well, I know how to do that because we just went through it. We start at -3 and we go 5 spots to the left. So I end up at -8. So let's say I had something like -12 minus -7. So now I'm subtracting a negative. To subtract a negative, you add its opposite. The opposite of -7 is +7. Same number, different sign. So this becomes -12 plus 7. So you can see that two minuses together became a plus, and that's what this means here. Minus and a minus next to each other become a plus. So now that it's -12 plus 7, I just use my rule here. Add, I go to the right. So I start at -12, which is here, and I go 7 to the right. So I end up at minus 5. So minus 12 plus 7 is minus 5. Negative 12, subtract negative 7, gives me minus 5. All right, let's now look quickly at multiplying and dividing. So multiplying and dividing directed numbers is a lot easier than adding or subtracting, because all we do is just multiply and divide the numbers as normal and decide should our answer be positive or negative. So if both numbers being multiplied or divided are the same sign, that means both are positive or both negative, your answer's positive. But if there are different signs, so if you times a positive by a negative or you divide a negative by a positive, your answer is negative. Let's look at some examples. So if I had something like 6 times minus 8, so 6 times 8 is 48. Because it's a positive and a negative, they have a different sign, so my answer is negative. If I have something like minus 5 squared, well, that means minus 5 times by itself. That's what squared means, times by itself. So here, I just go 5 times 5 is 25. Now, I'm multiplying a negative by a negative. They have the same sign, so my answer is positive. So minus 5 squared is positive 25. Remember, we don't usually write the positive sign in our answer. So what about if I had something like minus 36 divided by minus 4? Remember, this line here means divide. So 36 divided 4 is 9. But I'm dividing a negative by a negative. They have the same sign, so my answer is positive 9. So let's say I had something at minus 7 times minus 8 divide minus 2. How would I do that? Well, I'm going to start by doing this. So minus 7 times minus 8. 7 times 8 is 56. Now minus times a minus, same sign, my answer's positive. So this part of it is 56. So the answer is 56 divide negative 2. So 56 divided by 2 is 28. Positive divide negative, different signs. So the answer is negative. All right, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.